it play and call it work.
Why do I like Iron Warriors? All right, you got the best Primarch by far, with the most personality, ruthless efficiency, technical skill, combat prowess, the best, most relentless soldiers. These guys didn't fall back from nothing. You can shoot them all day and they're going to keep on coming at you. Shielded by artillery and large tanks, big machines, giant robots. The true jack of all trades Legion. This is actually my personal army. I have bought, assembled, collected, and painted each and every one of these miniatures myself. This is 8,100 points of the greatest Legion, painted up in the shiniest of iron armor. This army has to be led by a bunch of great characters. First of all, Dave actually bought me this guy. This is my sorcerer Dave brought back from one of his trips to England one time. So that's the limited edition guy. Thank you, Dave, because they need a sorcerer. Next, I kind of converted up a banner bearer. Chris actually helped me out with that banner. There's actually a quick tip on how to properly get a decal to sit in the banner like that. We also have my Chaplain Bane. If you know why he's named Bane, comment below. When it's converted Siege Master and Artillery Master, or sorry, I forgot what they're called. Master Signals is a must include in any army, but especially Iron Warriors. We have our Special Warsmith / Praetor, also converted to be Kier Valen if I'm going to be Kier Valen. And then we have we'll call him Aramis Golg, but he's another Siegebreaker converted character. No less than 30 tactical marines are required. Nuncio Voxes, of course. Nothing special in the sergeants, so you don't want me in combat. Just shoot, 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 shoot. That's what the veterans are for. Lots of power weapons, a power claw. These are the combat guys. Gotta have and love the Terminators. 1 for close combat, 2 for shooting, plus the Tyrant Siege, the staple. Everybody's favorite Terminators. Oh, the mortars, they're so overpowered. Don't bring them with Phosphex if you want to make friends. But Dreadnoughts, they're always fun. Zap, zap, zap. Double Kiers always. Guns, you have to have all the guns. Heavy bolters, melta guns, plasma guns, flamers, and missile launchers. Iron Havocs, the greatest heavy weapon squad in the Horus Heresy. And then we have Siege Breakers. They're not that effective, but they look cool, and I will include them in every game I can. Rhinos, Demos class Rhinos, they have to be in your list. Now, you're not going to play Iron Warriors without bringing your artillery. I got Medusas for mine. I want to fire off Phosphex or Strength 10 Ordnance. Medusas will actually cover it. Now, the Friendmaker, the Whirlwind Scorpius. It is a Whirlwind with Strength 8 rockets on a Predator chassis. Nice armor 13 on the front. A Land Raider for transport the troops with a couple of last cannons, just basic old Land Raider. And one more with an Augury Scanner if I need it. No assault ramp in the front. One more Land Raider Proteus to help out. Now, a Spartan. Everybody has a Spartan. I have yet to see a Legion who didn't have at least one Spartan in their list. And a Typhon. For whenever you want to play Josh's Night Lords, you have to have a Typhon. Now, Big Daddy Perturabo, he's the man. This is why I actually play the list. He is a Primarch with options, hammer or no hammer, but I guess he's not really having options because it's always hammer. He doesn't trust his own bodyguard. He built and designed his own Iron Circle to protect him. He didn't even trust his own Legion. And he's also one of those Primarchs who can bring their very own vehicle in the same slot as him. So he has the Tormentor, his Shadow Sword. That's a Shadow Sword that actually holds 15 models on the tabletop. And that is my 8,000 points of the Iron Warriors Legion. The reason why I started Iron Warriors in the first place is actually quite interesting. I actually didn't know much about their lore. I had no real connection with them whatsoever. But I was looking for a Legion to start years ago where I would have automatically picked Dark Angels. They weren't available for special Legion rules at the time. So I went with something that already had rules, something that I had planned on making a small force for, so that when the Dark Angels got their rules, I just switch over to them and play them. So I wanted a Legion that I would just, it might be kind of cool to paint. So I looked at Iron Warriors. Perturabo looked beautiful. It was the Primarch model that made me pick the Iron Warriors. I bought him first, my first 2,000 point list. I think he was the first thing I painted in the 2,000 point list as well. And then from there, I just fell in love with the Iron Warriors. I started reading about their lore, their backstories, their garrisons, their missions, their traps of the Imperial Fists. Everything I consumed was it was so fascinating. I didn't realize how much I would grow to love Perturabo and the Iron Warriors. So they very much are my 30K army now. I have no intentions of switching to another one. This is my primary 30K army. I love the Iron Warriors. The Iron Warriors on the tabletop, just fantastic, relentless, constantly moving forward, constantly want to meet in gunfight, got the advantage because we automatically pass morale, and we have a new-ish right of war, Iron Fire. Let's be honest, the thing might be a little overpowered, but the narrative behind it is just the Iron Warriors constantly marching forward on the foe while their artillery just shells right in front of them constantly. Nice shield of artillery, very Iron Warrior. Artillery, almost a defensive thing, make the enemy come to you, but they find a way to use it as very offensive, just to crawl up the board and get closer to you. Now, that brings the lore onto the tabletop, because the Iron Warriors, I mean, like they were huge. They were a massive legion. They did everything, but they were the masters of siege. Say, Perturabo himself was the master of siege. He would conquer planets, take down any fort, leave behind entire garrisons of his troops just to step back and polish their armor and do nothing. As the rest of the Legion continued the crusade or fought their brothers once the heresy started. Got a couple of our own special units, the Tyrant Siege Terminators. We have Terminators with cyclone missile launchers. Every Terminator in a squad has a cyclone missile launcher. It is fantastic. We have our very expensive Iron Havocs with stupendous rules. Fantastic rules. I know they're high in point cost, but they're an auto-include. There hasn't been an enemy I fought yet who has not feared the Iron Havocs. They always go for them right away, because you know if you don't, they're going to tear down at least one unit or vehicle a turn. But it's Iron Warriors. You don't have to just do the shooting thing, though I mostly do, because everybody knows I'm a shooter. I don't like melee combat. You can easily do melee combat with Iron Warriors like you do with most legions. They do literally everything, but guns are where it's at. Perturabo himself, okay, this is the Primarch with the most flaws, I think. I mean, they all have their flaws, but Perturabo had the most relatable flaws to me. This guy was a vain man. He was a vain, whiny little child, but was good at what he did. He got the job done, but then he complained that he did not get enough credit or adulation once the job was done. That, I think, is fantastic. He is so flawed. The only Primarch that I can think of that actively killed his own men because he did not do well enough, even after they won a fight. This guy had impossible standards. He didn't trust his own, he's the only Primarch with his own honor guard. The rest of them had an honor guard, personal bodyguards that, they were mostly ceremonial, mostly for show, because who could protect a Primarch. Not Perturabo, he doesn't trust his own men. He builds his own robots. He built 12 iron, 12, is it 12? 10, 12? I think it was 12. He built 10 giant robots to protect him. They didn't last very long. They got destroyed in one book. But it was cool. He designed his own honor guard, which I think, again, is more of his flaws coming through his vanity, his lack of trust, his superiority complex. One thing as well, I've always loved the Talon Desert Raiders from the 40K Astra Militarum line, and I did not know this until very recently. Talon wasn't actually a desert planet until the Iron Warriors got there and scorched the entire thing. It was actually a pretty beautiful story. Now, on the table, I actually love playing my Iron Warriors in one particular way. Stand back and shoot. Almost like, it is a gun line. It is an Astra Militarum gun line with tanks. But you can literally do anything, whether you want to stand back and shoot, or you want to go full-on Terminator deep strike, because Perturabo allows you to do that. Just have your guys zip on the table and assault, or just, like, who looks better holding a breacher shield than an Iron Warrior? Nice hazard stripes, shiny shiny armor, marching forth with your, hazard stripes. They're not overly effective on the tabletop, but I use them quite regularly just because they're so beautiful. Just to start an Iron Warriors army, you need a simple thing, a single box of Kelth. 3 units of regular tactical marines. You don't even have to make them veterans. Make them tacticals, buy them a Nuncio box, and there is your core. And then Perturabo, you have to have Perturabo, he's a must in every army. After that, it's anything you want. You want to add flyers or assault marines. You want to add artillery, big tanks. They can literally do anything any way you want. Painting them was actually super easy. It was a very simple black primer, Minotaur gun alloy spray. Once that was dry, I edge trimmed all the gold bits with Art Gold from the Games Workshop line. After that, it was a sealer, a gloss coat of seal, and then picked up the details. This was probably the easiest army I've ever painted. Now, I get regularly, I should rephrase that. Every time I do a bat rep with these guys, I get some emails saying, why are your Iron Warriors so shiny? They should be dirty and mucked up. Well, I mean, I guess every time you look at the story, artwork, and stuff like that, the Iron Warriors are very mucked up, very dirty, always in the trenches. But like to remember, a good chunk of the army was left garrisoning various forts or planets left behind with nothing to do but polish their armor, and that's what my guys are designed after. However, I did work on 40k Iron Warriors as well, and the same paint scheme. I mucked them up with a lot of just dirt dry brushes and the technical Nihilix Oxide and Typhus Corrosion, which I think in hindsight looks a lot better. And one day my shiny, not veteran Iron Warriors will get mucked up and become veterans when I make them all dirty like this. I definitely did not expect to fall in love with the Iron Warriors and Perturabo as much as I did when I started this project years ago. Though I'm so glad I did. I could not think of another Legion I would have loved more than this one. Often you finish painting an army, you think, oh, you know, I'm gonna work on my next army, or I wish I did this one instead. I had no regrets for this Legion. I love them. They were fantastic to paint. They were easy to paint. They were fun in the battlefield. The lore just gets better and better every time I read about it. Perturabo, literally, come on, is the best by far. You can comment below as why you think your Primarch's the best, but you're wrong because it's Perturabo. But no, it was just a fantastic project that, in my mind, will probably never be finished. This army will constantly grow. So whether you want to join Horse in the Crusade or you want to, stick with Curve Allen and remain loyalist, you can do anything you want with the Iron Warriors, and that is why I love the Iron Warriors. And that is why I love the Iron Warriors. You can comment below, let me know why you love the Iron Warriors, unless you're an Imperial Fist player, in which case I do not care. There are also links to bat reps below. Thank you for watching. Happy wargaming.